welcome back to another fun and exciting night with yours truly, Sylvia Camille. Oh, I have someone who is so hilarious tonight for our guest. Comedian John Mason is going to be with us tonight, guys, and we're going to have a great time. I want you to go ahead right now and get your glass, get your favorite drink, honey, because he's going to have you rolling answering these questions Camille got for him. But guys, before we get started and I bring our guests in, I have to give you a word for the week. And the word for the week is dream. DREAM, dream. And you know why I had to choose this word? Because tomorrow we're going to be celebrating the most powerful person who influenced the world to dream in a different spectrum, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, of course, I had to look up those definitions of dreams because, that's just what I have to do. And it says the meaning of dream. It's a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. Then the second definition is a cherished aspiration, ambition, or idea. And that is the definition that I want you to focus on all week. A cherished aspiration, ambition, or idea. Remember, it's a new year, 2021. Whatever you didn't accomplish in 2020, whatever your dream or your vision was, you have a second chance. So tomorrow, again, we're going to be celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who had a powerful dream for the world. And we're going to close out listening to his speech later on, clips of it. Now, guys, I had a wonderful week. Friday, I celebrated with my sorors, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We celebrated 113 years on Friday, so that was wonderful. And then another historical thing that's going to be happening on Wednesday, guys, the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden and President-elect Kamala Harris, the first African-American woman to hold a national office. Dreams really do come true, but you got to believe, okay? So don't forget, I want you to dream, and whatever your dream is, your ambition is, hey, fester on it this week. It's going to all come true. Remember tomorrow is not a day off, but a day on. Ask yourself about your dream, okay? Now, so we can start having some fun and laughter because we need it with everything going on around the world. We need somebody to come in here and make us laugh and make our cheeks hurt. So let me bring in our guest, comedian John Mason.
What's happening? What's happening?
Hey, John.
Sylvia Camille, what's happening?
What is happening with you over there? What are you doing?
I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm still bringing in the new year.
You still bringing in the new year? Well, it's only 17 days in, so you know what? You got the whole month of January to do that.
I got the whole year. It's a
pandemic. We got the whole year. Okay, tell everybody, John, who is John Mason?
John Mason, the entertainer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, John Mason, the comedian, the entertainer. Who is he?
Stand-up comedian John Mason. I've been doing stand-up not very long, actually, about 3 or 4 years now. But it's been a journey. I just like to my fulfillment comes from seeing other people in an audience be able to come together. And no matter what it is you went through prior to coming to my shows, I want you to be able to leave with that burden lifted off your shoulder, knowing that you can make it another day.
Oh, amen. You gonna make me say amen. You gonna do that?
Say it now. Say it.
Amen, John. I love it.
Go on and shout while you're at it.
Amen. I love that. You already answered one of your questions for today. I love it. That's your message to the people. You want to uplift people.
That's what it is.
You want to uplift people.
Yeah.
But that's a ministry in itself, too.
Absolutely. You got to uplift people through whatever. I was talking to somebody earlier today about using whatever gift you have and making it work for you. And I think that comedy in itself is a gift. It takes a lot for a person to be able to put themselves to the side and be able to make a full room of people, even a half a room of people during COVID. I've done some rooms for 2 people. You do a room where you have people who come in there, you don't know them, they don't know you, and somehow you can make them feel as though they can still make it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. So when did you get into comedy? How old were you? I know you just said 3 to 4 years ago, but when you were little, when you were in school, anything, were you in a talent show? Did you do stuff like that?
I've always done talent shows, never the comedy side. I've always done, acting, improv, and things like that. And then as time progressed, I got this bug to do some comedy back in 2000 and maybe 13. I was in college for the 6 or 7 years.
Oh, so, all right. Comedy was your major.
And I got this bug. Yeah, comedy was my major, and I got this bug to do comedy, and so I hosted a talent show there for what we call the Black Student Union, and then I was sitting in my dorm room at the time, and I was writing these jokes and writing, and so I did that show. I remember like it was yesterday. I did that show on a Thursday night, and that Friday morning, I got a text from a friend of mine, same school. He said, "Hey man, I got a comedy room down in about 30 miles away from the school, and we doing a show tomorrow night." That was that Friday. He said, "You come down there and do 5 or 10 minutes." And he said it may be a full house, may not be. Never know. Just go down there and try it. So I contemplated all day. I went to one class. And I went back to my room and I wrote and went over these jokes and threw half of them in the trash can. And I mustered up the courage to go down there. Drove down there to the show, comedy club. First comedy club I ever did in my life was in Springfield, Illinois. And I
Mm.
drove down there and did that comedy club. And I got down there. They white folk, they started on time. I wasn't used to that either.
Uh,
So I went down there and I did 5 or 10 minutes and it was a mess.
it was a mess, John. It wasn't
Oh
good.
yeah, man, yeah. The thing about comedy is a lot of guys won't tell you that they have, like everybody else in their job, you have some good nights and some bad nights. It happens. But the thing about it is you gotta persevere. You
Well,
gotta huh?
well, you had the courage to go.
Yeah. I mustered up the courage to go. I put on the best outfit I could find. I was in college, so I didn't have no money. I didn't have no clothes. I was wearing hand-me-down clothes from my brother and my uncles and all that stuff. So my shoes was too big. I had a tissue paper rolled up all in my shoes.
Oh my Lord.
Shirts was too big. I had, but it was nice clothes. So I drove down there and did what I could. 5 or 10 minutes. It was all right. But I kept going.
I like that. How do you know you funny?
You in my personal opinion, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I think it's just a matter of repetition. Comedy is a matter of repetition. So you hit these stages night after night, and you find different crowds, you find different demographics of people. And what I was always told was to not try to venture out and write, 7,000 jokes and try to do different things all the time. So what I was always told was you find yourself a solid 3 or 4 minutes of comedy.
Okay.
When you starting out, people are not going to allow you to do more than 5 minutes anyway. So you find yourself a good 3 or 4 minutes, and you really, really, really hone those 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
And no matter what, as long as you're consistent, people will grow on. You'll grow on people.
You will grow on
You
people.
just be consistent, and so with the consistency comes a matter of you'll find that this joke worked, that joke didn't work. How can I go back to the drawing board and make this joke funny, or I just need to throw it in the trash can and start something new. So you just keep trying.
You just keep trying. You just keep
You keep
trying.
going, man. You're not The thing about comedy is a lot of people don't realize you're not going to make everybody laugh every night of the week. It's humanly impossible.
Okay, that's
Even
smart.
in normal jobs, you're not gonna please everybody at your job 7 days a week. It's not gonna happen. So when you go to the comedy club or the event hall or whatever you're doing, you do the best you can. And you find when you're doing the best you can, you make sure that those people that are laughing, You just try to figure out, you make 10 people laugh today. You try to figure out how to make 11 laugh tomorrow.
Love it. Good strategy. So, who inspires you now to continue on this journey being a comedian?
It's a very interesting question that you asked, but a lot of people have a lot of inspiration that come from far fetched ideas, people that they've watched, people that they've studied through TV and other different platforms and things like that. I have a personal inspiration, and it makes the comedy game a little different for me. I have an uncle that's been in the comedy business for over 30 years, and has really grown, and in my opinion, is one of the greatest comics to ever live. I mean, you have people out there like Richard Pryor, Dick Gregory, George Carlin, Red Fox. You got all those legendary comics that we obviously have to pay homage to. If it had not been for them, we wouldn't be where we are today. Bill
Right.
Cosby and those different people. But I have a personal connection with one of the greatest comedians of today's time, in my opinion. That's Don D.C. Curry,
That's
and
done.
that's who inspired me to do what I'm doing today.
And that's awesome. You have someone right there in your hip
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to help you along the way. Now, let's talk about this. What your uncle say when you told him you want to start doing this?
It was interesting because when I remember that story too. I went to his house one day. I called him. I said, "Hey, Uncle, I want to come by the house and talk to you." He said, "I'm here." What's going on? And in his mind, it probably my nephew doing something else crazy. What he want now? You need some more money or something crazy? And I sat down with him in his basement and then told him I wanted to do some comedy. And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You been writing?" I said, "I don't really know what to write." And so you would think that most people would imagine that he would just say, "Okay, well, this is funny. Write about this. That's funny. Write about that." That Negro gave me 97 books and put them in a Kroger bag and say, "Go read these books and call me when you get done."
I hope you read at least one.
I read about 60 pages of one of them, and I didn't believe it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't believe it. I read it, and it didn't click for me at the time. But also I was about 25,
Okay, what
20.
lesson have you
I was
learned
about,
now?
huh?
What lesson have you learned from that now?
So now it was one of those things where if somebody is willing to help you, take the advice that they give you. Specifically from somebody that's been in the game for over 20 years at the time and has thrived,
Right,
and there's 52 weeks in a year. And I know at the time prior to COVID, the man had probably been on the road at least 30 weeks out of the 52. So you're doing something right.
right.
And so had you, for you to have been able to do that for so long, and people recognize who you are, and not only who you are, but they recognize your talent. They recognize what you bring to the game, to the industry. So
Mhm.
it behooves you to really listen and take heed to what the man was saying. So I went back eventually. He probably doesn't know it now, but I went back eventually, and I still had the books here. I never gave them back. So I still have those books here now, and I still read them. I try to read them more often than not, even if I just read a page or two a day out of each book. I read it and I go straight to my books and I write something, even if it's just taking notes on what I learned from the books. I still do that today.
Okay, good. How would you describe your comedic topics? Cause you funny already. I'm telling you, funny.
They're spaced out. To be honest, they're spaced out. A lot of comedy comes from personal experience. So a lot of things that I go through that I've been through on a daily basis. And the funniest thing for me is I did in 2019. I remember I had a friend of mine who called me and asked me if I would do a comedy show at a church for him. And I said, man, I don't know if I could do that. I said, I try my best, but I don't
You
know
might
if
have
I'm
some
cut
choice
out.
words.
Huh?
You might have had some choice words.
Yeah, but I said I don't know if I'm cut out for that, man. I said I try my best. So he told me he wanted me to headline. I wrote down, about 20 minutes worth of jokes in my mind, and it was interesting because as I'm writing, I'm just thinking about other things that had happened to me from early childhood, just
Mm.
growing up in the church and being around church people, experiencing, different church things. You waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday to go to church, 7 o'clock service. You got Sunday school at 9, church at 11. Then you eating until 2 o'clock. You got service at 3, and then service at 6. So all of that stuff was experiences that I went through, and those things, just living that life for years, was a lot of the it did a lot for me. It did a lot for me. So that really helped me. So to answer your question, the platform of comedy that I do, I think, is a wide variety of things. I try to do a lot of things that relate directly to my life, but I also try to relate directly to the people. I want the people to be able to relate to what I'm saying. And furthermore, it's a there are some things that some people would consider a fine line,
Mm.
some lines that you shouldn't cross in comedy. And there are some things, if you read, there are some things that you may or may not want to stay away from until you get a name for yourself and become established in the game, and then you can say things off the cuff that people will listen to, because you have a name.
Right.
But in my opinion, I try to, as I get older, I try to mix in, it's all true. It's all true. So I try to mix in life experiences. I try to mix in some political things, some, just some things that I see on a daily basis that I feel like the people can relate to, but
Mm.
you may not think of it in the same eye that I see it until I say it.
Right. That leads me to my next question.
What is that?
When you said a fine line between certain topics, so because I don't know which comedian it was, but like topics such as you said politics, but making jokes about people with disabilities, and how do you feel about that?
Disabilities are different. It's different. That's a very, very, very thin line. And I tried not to cross uh that line too much, not with disabilities. That's just a very, very touchy subject, for lack of a better term. A very touchy subject. So I try to stay as far away from that as I can. But it's just a matter of, it's a feel. What are you feeling
What you feeling?
that night, and what joke are you doing that takes you to a different place where you feel like it's safe to kind of slide this in. And sometimes you'll slide some things in and just see where it goes. You have some of those nights.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever you prep before your show. Let's just say you prep before your show. You already have in your mind what jokes you plan on. But when,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, when you get to the audience, how much have you had to just like switch it up? Like,
It just depends, because you in your mind, you don't really know, and that's just where you are. For me, is where I am. So when I do comedy tours, I did 2019. I did a comedy tour at a church. So a lot of that stuff was just there. It was all stuff that I prepped, for the most part. If I did 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it didn't matter. That was all stuff I prepped. But there were some times where I did get on there, and I did change the narrative, for lack of a better term. But I mean, it happens.
yeah,
It
like
happens. You just got, huh?
John, this is what I want to know. Like, if you see somebody who looks funny out there in the audience.
It's it. And so for me, I got a one track mind. I'm gonna be honest with you, like an old man. I got a one track mind. So if I'm mid joke, uh, sometimes I gotta finish it before I can jump somewhere else, or I promise you, you'll never hit the end of it, because I
Oh,
forget it. But if
oh,
I see somebody, just funny, and if it tickles me, you gonna know about it.
okay.
Oh yeah, y'all gonna know about it. If it makes me laugh, y'all gonna know about it. And I don't even care if I get back to the next joke or not. It don't make me no difference. It is what it is.
Mhm. You talked about this just a little bit about your creative process. So do you keep a journal?
I have several journals. I try to write every day. That's the key to this, is writing every day, just to keep your mind sharp,
Hmm.
to make sure that you're always ready. You're always ready for whatever's coming at you. People may call you last minute. Hey, can you come do this? I didn't have a comedian. I had a comedian but he called in sick or called in and can't make it, whatever. And they may call you last minute. At that point, you don't have 2 or 3 hours or 4 or 5 days or whatever it is to prep your actual show. So you got to at least keep something at the top of mind at all times.
Okay. Let's talk about this. How much of public speaking, um, like preparation, do you think a comedian needs to have? Because you come from a lineage. Your grandfather is a preacher.
Absolutely.
So how much of that?
I think that helped me a lot. I think it did because I got to watch as a child. I got to watch my grandfather, who pastored a church on the south side of Chicago for 40 some odd years. I got to watch him just have that charisma, if you will, as a pastor and addressing people in a lot of different spaces. So weddings to funerals to anniversaries and things like that. So I got to watch all of that. And then I have an uncle that's a pastor now, uncle that's a comedian, and so it that public speaking thing for me, I want to say it came naturally. It was one of those things for me where I kind of fell into it, and I like people. I love to be around people. I love addressing people, and so it was one of those situations for me where I just kind of, it just happened for me.
It just happened.
Yeah,
Remember doing your Easter speeches?
man, I just came to say Happy Easter Day every year. Every year, you'd be surprised. I messed up that Easter speech so bad every year. It was crazy, man.
Okay, Johnny Hannibal, how many words in it?
My mama wanted to kill me. It had 9 words. My mama wanted to kill me every year. I done bought you this suit from Burton Coat Factory. Dress you up real nice. Got you a tie, a vest,
Oh my
some socks and shoes, all that stuff. Man, I got up there and I just came to say, Mama, what's the words? I
goodness.
mess it up every week.
Oh, okay, that's funny. Okay.
Every week.
Okay, let's talk about this. If you could open up for anyone, a big headliner in the industry, comedic industry, who would it be? And why?
It's funny, huh?
And why?
Right now, I would love to open up for the funniest comedian, in my opinion, that has ever been on tour in the history of comedy. Right now, Donald J. Trump.
Right, you crazy.
Donald Trump funny.
You
He's the funny.
open up here. He don't have no but a couple. How many
Uh,
hours does he have? He don't have.
that's the funniest man in show business right now. Uh,
He's so crazy.
I think I've already done it. I think I've already done it. I've opened up for, like I said, I've opened up for my uncle DC Curry before.
Okay, what was that? Tell us about that. How was that experience?
It was nerve wracking. I pulled up one night in my early years of comedy. I think I'd be a little better now because of I've grown a little bit. I've matured a little bit, and so when I did that, it was nerve wracking. I pulled up to Uptown Comedy Corner here in Atlanta one Friday evening when he was headlining, and when I got there, I told the valet guy who I was, and I'd been doing some open mics around the city, so he had seen me before, so it wasn't a big deal. So he directed me to a parking space and all like that, and so I walked in the door. I got back to the green room where Don was, his managers and other people with him. And so we sitting back there talking, having a cigar, some drinks and things like that. And he said, hey man, you got five? I said, yeah, I got a $5 bill. He said, no, man, you got five. I said, five what? He said, you want to do comedy, right? I said, yeah. He said, you been working? I said, yeah, I had a show the other night. I said, I was here, earlier this week. He said, yeah, well, go ahead and do five. But I hadn't really prepared.
He was talking about 5 minutes, John.
5 minutes. I hadn't fully prepared myself. So at the time, I went outside. I said, all right, cool. So I go outside and went through some of my rituals and got myself together. And it just so happened that I knew when I was going to see him, I had to be dressed appropriately
Right.
because he's always dressed. you know. And so I had a suit on that night. I remember it. Had a suit on that night. Shoes were shine, socks were nice, all like that. So I prepared myself for it, and I went and I did those five. Uh, I did those 5 minutes for him, but it was nerve wracking. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What
It
they
was nerve wracking. It was only nerve wracking because that was the first time in my life that I'd done a room literally where there was standing room only.
Oh my goodness.
That was the first time, and that was the first actual comedy club that I'd done on a weekend. You know, when you start out in comedy, we really we amateur comics we really get uh, we really get excited when somebody books us to do a Thursday, Friday, or a Saturday night show.
Okay.
Because typically you doing shows, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Hmm.
And so when he asked me to come, when he asked me to do these five on a Friday night, I was like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do.
Did you have some? Did you have some help? Did you
Somewhat?
did you have some help? You had some.
Yeah, yeah, I had some diapers in my car. I went and put some diapers on. I put
Oh
some
my
diapers on.
goodness!
Huh?
Oh my goodness! That is
Man, I went out there and it was funny because I went out there and I remember it, man. I did a solid three. It was solid 3 minutes. And I had the people going and I was feeling myself and I wanted to go more. I should have cut it off at three. I did one more and it bombed. And I said, damn, I should have cut it off at three.
oh.
And once I went backstage, he said, man, he said something to me that I'd never forget. He said, you got something. You
Okay.
got something. And so he said, I'm gonna get myself together. We'll talk about it, later this evening or tomorrow. But he said, you got something, you own to something. And that's when I knew in my mind that if I could get that type of energy from a comedy legend in my mind, not even thinking about the family lineage, from a comedy legend in my mind, if I could get that type of energy from that person, I'm
Right.
on to something.
You on to something. Well, I tell you, you got an excellent support piece. So you just got to keep on. You got to keep on keeping on.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about this now. Let's switch gears a little bit. You also direct. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, that was interesting. I high school, uh, and I did a lot of stage plays. I've done in my lifetime right now. I've done 29 stage plays
Oh, that's awesome.
in my lifetime, and so those have been from local community stage plays where nobody comes and nobody pays and all that type of stuff.
How my
Yeah, you've seen that. I've done all of those from that piece all the way through, paid touring stage plays, which I appreciated all those people who have had me on their stage plays to do different roles and tour, and make a little money and things like that. So I'm very appreciative of all of those opportunities. But at one point, I used to, while I was doing these stage plays, I used to sit back and say, I really think I'd be a lot better directing these things. I think that I see some things here that could be changed that I can't change from this side of the spectrum.
okay.
And so it was not until more recently that I got into directing. I linked up with a guy, Johnny Bush, who is a playwright on South Side in Atlanta, and he's written several stage plays. He's been doing it for about 10 or 11 years now. He's written several stage plays, and I was in a stage play of his back in high school, and it was not until recently we reconnected. And it was actually that same weekend that I did Uptown with DC because I remember getting a Facebook message from him that night asking me to call him about a stage play that he had going on that he wanted me to direct. And I didn't even know anything about directing at the time. But I started then, and since then I've directed about 7 or 8 shows. uh, for him and some other people. And I've had some other calls about directing some other shows as well. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey, but I'm appreciative for the opportunity.
Which one you think you like best?
Performing or directing,
Mm-hmm.
performing is less stressful. I tell you that for sure. Performing is less stressful. Uh, because I have a thing for once I hit that stage, it's just me and the people.
Right, that's
And there's no first take and second take and all of that stuff. So you just got to get on stage and figure it out. So that's that. But that directing piece gives me a different. It's a different. Uh, it's a it's a different level of satisfaction that I get from directing. So I can't really say which one I like more. I like them equally. I think it's just a matter of where I am with whatever's going on.
oh. All right. So if you can change anything in the entertainment industry, what do you think it would be? What would it be? What would you want to try to?
Woo! Uh, I think, and this may be a stretch, but it doesn't really make me a difference. I think right now in the entertainment industry, I think that I would advocate for more of our people to
Mm,
be one in the industry. There's a lot of things right now that I see going on in the entertainment industry that are just there. It's okay, but it's not right. And so I think that there should be more of a closely knit network
okay.
of African Americans in the entertainment industry who are willing and ready to work together and help one another. That's the problem that I see. We don't want to help each other. It's always a competition, and I think that it needs to be more of a marathon. We
Mm,
in this thing together, and so if we look at it in the light of we in this together, I'm not saying I'm a walk out the door tonight and a comedian call me and say, "Hey man, can I have one of your jokes?" It don't work like that.
right.
I'll help you write one of yours.
Hmm.
But it's more so of you got a lane. Let me help you stay in your lane. But I can certainly assure you that if you stay in your lane and not try to cross over to mine, you'll be better off. And so I think that's the thing that we really need to come together and do. We need to be able to help one another. And when we need that help, we need to be able to reach out for it and not be afraid to do it.
Like how you helped me with my flyers every.
Absolutely. I saw a need and it wasn't no big deal. And another thing about it is we got to stay away from this social media foolishness. You know what I'm saying? I could have easily gone on social media and reached out and blasted out, oh, she needs help with this, that, and the other. That's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? And so I subtly sent you a text, hey friend, I can help you with X, Y, and Z.
And
You
I
know what I
love
mean? And it was no smoke. You know what I mean? It wasn't no hard feelings, and it's still not. When
no.
I see there's a need and I feel like there's something that I can do to assist you, I may as well step in and at least try.
And I and Sylvia Camille loves all of them.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter. We gotta help each other. We gotta be able to help each other. Each one reach one.
Amen.
We can help each other. It's enough room in the comedy business for a lot of people. It's enough room. It's enough comedy rooms, of enough comedy clubs. It's enough all that stuff for us to be able to go and reach each other and help each other out. I put guys all the time for stuff that it's not necessarily I don't want to do it, but maybe I'm busy. Maybe I can't do it. And I reach out to somebody. One thing about me is I never turn down a show. I'll never turn down a show. If somebody calls me and says, hey, I got a show this day, this day, this day, can you be there? If I can't be there, I may personally say I can't do it, but I'm
But
gonna also turn around and tell you I got a guy that can.
I love it.
I
I love
got
it.
somebody that can do it for you.
You have a loving heart.
Yeah, if you felt enough of me if you felt enough of me to reach out to me and ask me to do something for you, I feel like at that point you trust my judgment. And so with that, if you trust my judgment, you will trust me going out to get somebody else to do the show for you, and you would know that they're gonna bring you the same energy that I would bring.
One of our comments says that's true. We have to help each other out.
We
Beautiful,
do. We
beautiful.
certainly do.
We got to help each other out. All right, so let's talk about with COVID.
COVID has been interesting. I'll be honest with you. COVID has been interesting. I have not done any shows in person since COVID-19. My last comedy show was March the 8th of last year. I
Mm,
haven't done any shows since COVID, not in person. I have had a number of people reach out to me and ask me to send them some virtual clips of myself doing some comedy, and they would incorporate it in their parties or whatever it was that they were having. And
okay.
so I think that that was a very, very unique way of transforming the comedy game. And I was happy to do it. I can do it from wherever, and I just have my camera crew to come in and meet me wherever I am, and we set up shop and do the show similar to the way Kevin Hart did his last comedy special.
Mhm.
But I haven't done anything in person since COVID.
Okay. But everybody hears that. You hear that John is willing. He can come virtually to you. So if
I'm
you
definitely willing. If you call me and ask me to do a show for you, whether it be clean show or not clean, unclean show, church show, whatever it is, I'm certainly willing to do it. You just call me and let me know, and give me enough time to shoot it and get it edited because I want to make sure it's right for you. And I send it to you, and you let me know what's right, what's not right, if I need to change something or whatever, and we get that done. And yeah, I'm willing to send it to you, and we can paste it in and copy it and do whatever we need to do, and get it to your broadcast, so you can have it for whatever virtual party you want to do. Or if you want to Zoom me in and do a show or something like that, I can do that too. That's fine.
that's fine. All right, good. I like it. That's good stuff. The people who watching and viewing and listening, they need to know that. Okay, let's talk about the internet one more time in a positive spin. Positive spin for upcoming entertainers, artists, and whomever. How do you think it's helping them?
The internet,
Yep.
I think it's helping a lot. I
And all
think
the
it's
different platforms
huh?
we have. And all the different platforms we have.
It's helping a lot. It's I know a lot of these internet so-called comedians, and so it helps them a lot. It's just another way for them to put themselves out there, and let people know that they are doing what it takes to make people laugh. Now here's the interesting part about that internet situation. You've got some people who do this internet thing, right? And they thrive. They make these videos and things like that, and the videos are hilarious. Shout out to all these guys and ladies as well, who are dropping videos on a daily basis, and they are drop dead hilarious. Haha Davis, Desi Banks, to name a few. Those guys drop videos on a daily basis, and Lonnie Smith, Rob Ming, and those are guys that I worked with in the past, and I really appreciate the opportunity that they gave me, starting out as trying to branch over into that internet thing. The internet is interesting, so it takes a special person to be able to transform that to the stage.
Hmm.
So you got this internet idea that is more or less a short film that you've got people shooting and editing, and you're acting in, and you're using your talent that way to make people laugh and to engage the people, and all of that stuff is good. It's just different when it comes to being on stage. When you on stage, it ain't no retake, no redo, none of that stuff can happen. So you just on stage, and whatever you say is what you say. And there's some guys that have been able to make that really a thing. DC Young Fly, to name one, and Desi Banks as well. Carlos Miller and Davis, man, those guys have done these. They've done these videos and they've done in person live stand up, and they've been able to cross over and really make it happen. But you if just a if you can make it work for yourself, you do it.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm more of a writer though, so a lot of times if you follow me on Facebook, I know Sylvia, you follow me on Facebook. I don't do a lot of videos. I'll do some videos if somebody asks me to do one, or if people text me a lot of times or inbox me and say, "Hey, I think this is funny," or I got a special holiday coming up. Can you drop a video about this? And I may do one. You'll see me doing a lot of videos around like Christmas, New Year's, things like that. So I may drop a video for that. But as far as just videos are concerned, I don't do a whole lot of them. And so I do a lot of writing. So I write a lot of jokes, and I throw them out there on Facebook and just see the different responses and things that I get. And a lot of people think that the stuff is funny. Sometimes I may turn around and do the same thing on stage. I may not.
All right. Let's talk about what do you do besides being a comedian and a director?
Well, you should have told me to put the cigar down.
It's okay. Mom, but she might not get us tonight. She might not get us tonight.
It's all good. So outside of the entertainment industry, I am what I like to coin myself as a healthcare advocate. A lot of people will look at that like it's not possible that you can do the two, and it is. I'm a healthcare advocate. I have my family has a business, Precious Healthcare, that we have here in Atlanta. We also are open in some other states as well, outside of Georgia. But we are healthcare providers for more or less, and so a lot of times what I do for the business, I go out into the community. I use my gift, as I talked about in the beginning. I use my gift of being able to, the gift of gab is what the old people would call it.
Yeah.
The seasoned saints call it the gift of gab. I use my gift to go out into the community and to educate the people about the types of services that we offer, that we can offer in the healthcare industry to help you, to benefit those who may be in need of in-home quality, loving healthcare.
Yeah, I always wanted to ask you how you all started there because that's so funny that you said that because I saw you like on the funny side and then I was
Yeah.
like, John doing what?
Yeah. It's been an interesting start. So the thing about it is, to make a long story short, and I have videos posted. I can tag some people in some videos if you like. Just let me know. But the long story short is, back in 2002, my grandmother. We were living in Chicago, in Illinois, and my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, and so we put her in what we would call in-home hospice care. And a lot of people look at that as just, it's just the last thing. It's the worst thing in the world. And we didn't know anything about it. It just so happened that one of my mother's good friends was a hospice nurse at the time,
Mhm.
and so we spoke to her about the different things that they could bring to the home, and help us administer the care that grandmother needed at the time. And so we went through that process with her. Fortunately, she passed away in 2003. But we don't say that's unfortunate, because we know that God has the ultimate say so in everything that we do and say. And so that was fortunate for us to see that she was able to embrace that care while she was still here with us on earth. And so I think she left us a good legacy, right? Of letting us know that this was the type of care that I deserved. This is the type of care that I can appreciate, and I appreciate you all for reaching out to someone and making sure that I was able to get that care. And so fast forward, we moved here in 2007 or 2008, one of those times, and so my mother was diagnosed with cancer at the time, and I was just in high school. So it was very difficult for me to go through that time with mother, going back and forth to chemotherapy, radiation, and things of that nature. And so from there, she got through that first trial, that first experience of her own of cancer. And so we were living our regular lives again. And then as I went to college on a full baseball scholarship, um, I got a phone call. Came here back to Atlanta on spring break, passing through, going to Florida, and she informed me then that she had cancer again. So this was the second time she had it. And so at this point, she was working off and on with some different hospice companies as an administrator and different things of the like. And so from there, her oncologist called and was saying that we don't really know what else we can do for mother. And at the tender age of 21, I was not accepting that. I wasn't receiving it in the same manner that most people do now. Even at 51 or 61, you're not able to receive and accept that diagnosis and that idea that mother, father, whomever may need
Mhm.
hospice care. And so we fought. We fought. I say we because we as a family we got together. We fought. Mother went through radiation chemo again, and so she was able to get through that cancer as well. And so all the while, my brother, who was a very very special person to me as well, and an entrepreneur in his own right, he said, to me, I think we need to start a service very, very similar to what those people did for grandmother and for what mother is going through right now. And so, he got everything he needed. And I said, whatever it is you need me to do, let me know how I can be of assistance. And so I came back home, not long after from being in college. I came back home, and I began to assist and all those things that we needed. And so I started getting out in different spaces, different places in Atlanta, meeting different people, meeting different politicians and different physicians and different church directors and things like that in the community, because I wanted this to be a community-based situation where we are really, really focused on getting those people in our communities that need this help the most. Those are the people that we want to reach. We want to be sure that people are getting essentially, we want you to get what you paid for. And so a lot of people don't understand that hospice is paid 100% through Medicare or Medicaid. You've already paid for it, right? And so if you've already paid for this service, use it. Why lose it?
Why lose it?
Right? And help yourself and help your loved ones to be able to better care for you and get you those things that really 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 matter the most.
I really admire your family for doing that because that's painful. I lost my father to cancer. So Charm and I, we took care of him, going through the process of knowing that, he was getting ready to leave this earth. So just to hear the compassion, I admire you so much for that. That's why I was like, John Bill that made out of crack jokes, but I want everybody to know about the other side that you have. That you are a very compassionate person. You love people, and you all took your pain and you did something beautiful. You're doing something every day in honor of your grandmother. Beautiful
Absolutely.
to help people, and
Absolutely.
there again, like you said, we all need to help each other, our
Absolutely.
community of people, and I just love it. So that's gonna bring us. We're almost gonna be wrapping up in a minute, just a minute. That was a beautiful message too. But what would be your message to the people for 2021?
My message to the people for 2021 is very simple. It's very very simple. My message to people for 2021 is to live the rest of your life like the best of your life. Live the rest of your life like the best. Your life is short. Life is very, very short. And a lot of times we get caught up in trying to quantify life.
Mm,
We try so hard to quantify life. We want to know how many minutes, we want to know down to the second how much time we have left. And that's not the idea. We want to know how many years, how many months, how many hours, how many minutes and seconds that we have left to live. Instead of trying to figure that out, we need to focus on quality of life.
mm.
And that is the motto and the memo that I have for the people in the entertainment industry as well as those seeking a better healthcare life. You need to be able to find out in yourself what's the best quality of life I can have. I can't quantify life because I don't make that call. I don't know how long I have left. I don't know. But if I live the rest of my life like it's the best of my life, I'll be all right.
You gotta put that on a t-shirt, John. We gotta go put that on a t-shirt.
Get them,
John,
get them, get them printed. Get them
John,
printed. I may get some printed tonight.
We need to go put that on the t-shirt, okay?
Live the best of your life like the rest of your life.
Like the rest of your life.
That's what it is.
I
And
gotta let you stay. I normally, take the guests out, and I'm gonna let you stay on because I'm gonna show a little bit of Dr. King,
go ahead.
okay? Because I want to talk about your dream for 2021.
That's right.
Okay. So, guys, hasn't this just been awesome, guys? John is hilarious, okay? And, soon as COVID lets up, we all are going to see him in person. But for now, Zoom, we do something. We do a Zoom part. But guys, I've got to share a little clip of Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" story. That's speech. I'm sorry. So hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me, John. Oh, wait a minute. John, somebody always texting me. Hold on, guys. I got. Oh, they said this was just awesome. I am crying. Oh, I will make it. John, look how you inspired
They gonna make it. They gonna make it.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it is you're going through, you're gonna make it.
You're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. And guys, I have to tell you, John's birthday is November the 5th.
That's right.
And yours truly, of course, is November 17th. Scorpios in the house together
That's
tonight.
Right.
Let this Scorpio find her mouse. Okay, I gotta share my screen. Stay with me, John.
I'm with you.
We just gotta listen to a little clip. Oh, look at me. Oh, him.
At this time, I have the honor to present to you the moral leader of our nation. I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today, traumatized with shameful conditions. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. And the architects of our republic spoke the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. They were signing a promissory note which every American has to fall out. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds to great bulks of opportunity for this nation. So we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make.
Okay, guys, I wasn't going to show the entire video, but I just had to share just a little bit of his voice because tomorrow is the national holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King, and we know he had a dream. And just to hear those 5 minutes of his I have a dream speech, they still have meaning today. John, what is
Absolutely.
what is your dream?
Absolutely. And I think that the idea to take away from that is that everybody has a dream.
Mhm.
Everybody has a dream, and what we have to realize is whatever your dream is never too big or too small.
Yes.
Your dream is never too big, it's never too small. Whatever it is, it can be accomplished. And your dream can be accomplished. You have to go for it. You got to go for it. You got to press towards the mark. Press towards the mark. See the prize,
It's-
and be persistent.
Mhm.
Be persistent. Persistence is key. Be persistent, and different people have different dreams, and whatever your dream is, you got to go for it. Don't let anybody deter you from your dream.
Y'all hear that? That's the word for the week. Dream
Absolutely.
is the word for the week. So whatever your dream is, and
Go for it.
hey, John said, be persistent and go for it. Okay, I'm gonna
Go
go take
for it.
him out and I'm gonna get ready to close out. But stay in the studio, John.
I got you.
Well, guys, it's 2 minutes to 7. Those 60 minutes tonight has just been mind blowing. We laughed, we cried, we got inspired from none other than comedian John Mason. I am so grateful for you all tuning in every Sunday night with Sylvia Camille. This is my dream. I'm living my dream, just going live with you all every Sunday. So go like, comment, share, and don't forget, whatever your dream is this week, hey, do it. Remember, John said, we don't know the hour or the time, but while we are here, we're going to make the best of it. I love you guys, and I'll see you all next Sunday at 6 p.m. Same place, same time. Love you. Have a beautiful week.